Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and I'm playing in the E-100. This is the first tier 10 tank that I ever got. I played it a hell of a lot. And that's probably one of the reasons why I don't play it so much recently, is that I'm trying to progress to get other tier 10 tanks, which are perhaps new and exciting. I'm looking at my clone there to the left of me. He's decided that he has picked the best paint job as well for the E-100. We're playing on Windstorm. This is quite a nice matchup for this tank. As we can see, only a third of the enemy team are tier 10s. Albeit that there is a platoon of tier 10 artillery. Which, wow. In the E-100, I don't use a super heavy spall liner on this tank. There is an argument to, say, drop the vents for a super heavy spall liner, or even drop the vertical stabilizers for one. I personally don't use one, I just try and avoid getting shot by the artillery in the E-100. So we have a T-21 scout at the front. He put himself in a pretty darn precarious position. And I'm waiting for the first ambush shot. I believe that I'm going to be able to shoot through this kiosk, I guess it is, and engage the enemy tanks as they come around the corner. However, they don't seem to be interested in putting the pressure on us, so I'm going to put the pressure on them. A T-54 with regular ammunition doesn't have a very good chance of penetrating my lower plate, even if it is flush. It's 200 millimeters of penetration. Unless he's using the gun with 220, really can't challenge the front of this tier 10 German behemoth. However, I, on the other hand, can annihilate his lower plate. So what I'm doing here is angling. As you can see, the 5100 is not able to go through me. Now I angle for the T-54. And this is the kind of angling that you need to develop in the E-100. He's fired, so now I get a chance to aim at him again. We aim right for his lower plate. And boom. Now what you're seeing me doing here is loading an HE round. Why? Because either I can kill that T-54 with my HE round. I realize I've got a little bit of a reload left. Or if he dies, I can plant it in the AMX 5100. So I continue to load HE. There's now a T-54E1 behind me who's killing this ST-1. But luckily for the ST-1, his very heavy armor and high health pool meant that the T-54E1 was unable to do real significant... Well, I mean, it did a lot of damage to him. It looks like he penetrated 2 shells, doing just over 800 to him. But the T-54E1 really would have needed to get a flush angle on the back of that ST-1, with its rear armor being very strong indeed. So, I fired another HE shell at the T-54E1. Didn't really have to do much damage to him. Now you see me loading a heat shell. Why? Because there's an E-100 spotted on the enemy team. So I'm trying to side scrape around this corner. He's not there. He's just been respotted now. And so you've seen me already use all the different types of ammunition with this 150mm. The standard, which has got 235mm of penetration and 5 degrees of normalization. Now I'm going to fire the heat, which has got 334. A completely unnecessary use of a heat round there, really. I would have penetrated that with an AP shell any day of the week. So I'm just angling for this E-100, hoping that he's going to shoot my tracks. You can see here I'm side scraping, side scraping, side scraping. And we can easily penetrate his cheeks with the heat shell. And oh, you heard me talk about the artillery there. Looks like the artillery either put in a shell here, here, or here. And it did just shy of 1,000 damage to me. One of the most heavily armored tanks in the game. Must have hit the spaced armor there on the side of the E-100 and still does 1,000 damage. Totally legit. So we managed to take out that 5100 on the move there, securing the 4th kill of the game, having done 3,200 damage. You know what? I'd be fairly happy with this game so far in an E-100. If I was to finish the battle like this, I think that's been a fairly successful game. But unfortunately for me, the enemies are rushing into our base. So I decide to pull back and go and defend our 2 artillery, of which one's a tier 10 and one's a tier 9. Apart from that shell that I took from the enemy artillery, that did shave off 1,000 of my health, as I did mention, you've seen a fairly strong game here with the E-100. With regards to the angling of the tank and picking the targets that it fires at with the correct ammunition for the engagement. So an IS-7 is pushing in. He manages to one-shot our GW Tiger, and that AMX 1390 is going after our tier 10 Batchat. Luckily for me, the IS-7 has had his health significantly reduced, and that allows me to get an ambush shot on the side of him. We aim right for the middle, and thank goodness that one went in. Now, having 235mm of penetration in the E-100, it's all down to chance, really, even if you penetrate the side of an IS-7 there from that kind of an angle. Gun isn't very accurate, and you see me reloading an HE round here. Why? Because there's a 1390 on the enemy team. And I might as well try and severely cripple him, or even just splash him, hopefully taking off his tracks. He has 1,100 health. Oh, we can see that his health has been slightly reduced. He's now got 967, 723. The Chi-Ri did some good work there. The average damage on our HE shell is indeed 950 with 85mm of penetration. So if we can hit the 1390, we will absolutely cripple him. Oh dear. That was an absolute painful miss. The AMX 1390 sees his opportunity and attacks in, and it looks like the enemy GW E-100 did 1,250 damage to the Chi-Ri with that one shot. So now, it's 1 versus 5. I could hang back here. All that's going to happen is I'm going to get peppered by artillery. The first shell hits me, doing just shy of 500 damage, I believe. I repair instantly to go after this AMX. There's no point in hanging back. My only chance is to try and kill these guys quickly. Luckily for me, I stopped and the GW E-100 or the Batchat missed his shot, and I am dodging artillery shells like a boss right now. So, my next line of thinking after I killed the AMX is, let's get into some cover. I fire clutch at the Waffenträger auf Panzer IV. Unfortunately, it did not hit. I need to get into cover again. I have 1,200 health. I'm against 4 opponents. Unfortunately for me, that Waffenträger is very high on health. So I've reloaded again. Fire clutch and oh, it just skims the top of his tank. Oh, it's very unfortunate. But I needed to get into cover to avoid the artillery, which is what I've done here. So what I'm doing is I'm going up the slope. I'm going up the slope to make it look like that's where I wanted to go. When I've become unspotted again, I'm going to turn this absolute behemoth of a tank round and prepare to hopefully engage the Waffenträger or the Borsig from the safety of this mound. Luckily for me, I spot the Borsig. He's on 650 health. I decide to come around the corner, keeping my tank angled. The Waffenträger auf Panzer IV penetrates me, killing my gunner. Nice shot into my turret there. We managed to take out the Borsig. And here he comes. We're going to keep our armor angled. Luckily, it's a bounce. And we're looking for the shot. We're looking for the shot. We don't have the shot. Well played to that Waffenträger. And oh man. Now we're down to 555 health. What I'm thinking is stay in cover, and hopefully this Waffenträger makes a mistake. And the Batchat has come for me. I turn my gun round quickly, fire clutch and take him out. Now the Waffenträger is coming down the slope. It's all about angling my armor. So I angle my armor. He fails to penetrate us. Now hopefully I can bully him. I'm angling my armor. Penetrate him, angle my armor again. We bounce him. And my E-100's traverse is so slow here in the water that I decide to try and angle with the back of my tank. I angle my turret armor. And oh, that's painful. He manages to take us out right at the end. That was an absolute heartbreak for me that the Waffenträger was able to penetrate us. We were nearly reloaded, and all we needed to do was to pull off one more bounce to be able to take this guy out and then take the fight to the last remaining Tier 10 artillery. So just to show you the angle of that penetration by the Waffenträger at the end, let's just take a quick look at this. That's just brutal that he was able to penetrate that shot. Looks like he fired it just under my gun mantlet. I'm 99% sure that was a premium round because I was angling my armor perfectly against the guy. In fact, the fact that that penetrated, it's pretty ridiculous. The only bad thing that I guess I managed to do here is that the tank is angling downwards. And when I angle the tank downwards, that means that the natural angling on the front of the E-100 turret is flatter, which should make it slightly easier for him to penetrate. But realistically, that's where the shot went in. And I can't complain. If I was the Waffenträger auf Panzerwehr, I would have fired premium rounds in this situation 100% of the time. What I'm really saying is that it's just such a shame. These tier 10 German behemoths can have all the armor. You can angle the thickest part of your armor at 45 degrees, and it doesn't make a difference with the premium rounds in the game. This was an absolute heartbreak for me. If I'd bounced that one shell, I would have undoubtedly been able to kill the Waffenträger auf Panzerwehr, and then it would have just been a very close engagement, a one-on-one with an artillery, to take a Pools medal and a Kolobanov's medal. Just to quickly reiterate what my plan was here. So we were caught in this position behind these rocks with 2 tier 10 artillery on the enemy team. The first action plan was that I had to kill the AMX. The AMX, in theory, should be able to kite me around that rock all day long, so I had to be very aggressive to be able to take him out. After I had taken him out, which was really lucky on my behalf that he hadn't kited me effectively, but I had to take that chance just to take him down. I had to try and keep my armor angled while tanking the Waffenträgers to be able to get into the nearest bit of cover that I could find, which was this hill here. Secondly, I had to try and lure the Waffenträgers into basically a bad position for them and hope that the artillery would miss or that the artillery would just not be able to take me out effectively. We managed to get a jump on the Borsig, and then we got stuck in a combat with a Waffenträger. If I hadn't had to fire the second shell at the Batchat, maybe the Waffenträger wouldn't have come down at me. And looking back at this kind of close quarters combat that I had with the Waffenträger, I felt like I played it correctly. The only thing I guess I could have done is I could have kept my tank closer to this wall, and then he wouldn't have been able to sneak around me using the terrain, which has probably less resistance here. So he could actually outflank me. If I'd locked him in, then he would have probably had to go around the water, and I could have angled my armor more effectively, which would have given me a better chance to bounce that last shell. And yeah, it was just a bounce too far. Anyway, it was a GG. Let's take a quick look at the post-game stats. So we made 107,000 credits that game and got 1,800 experience for our defeat. This was in fact a mastery badge for the E-100 in this defeat, which was doubly brutal. Because we got 8 kills, we managed to pick up a Radley-Walter's medal, as well as that high caliber, as we did 5,800 damage to the enemy team. With regards to WN8, this battle was over 25,000. Big thank you to Michael for implementing that on the replays.QuickyBaby.com website. And using that very capable armor on the E-100, we were able to block 3,760 damage. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this replay. I sure as hell enjoyed playing it. It was an absolute heartbreak. Some of the most fun games to play are. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking it down below. I'd really appreciate it. And let me know in the comments what you think about the E-100, and maybe what you think about it in the current meta of the game. Do you still think it's very strong, or do you think it's just frustrating? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.